and will never be lost. Together,
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
how can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business. Steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world. Learning new ways to do it better and more effective to feed more people and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
'22 Ag Day celebration. I'm Larry Robertson. I'm the CEO of Kadzukian, and we're based here at Agricenter over in A5. So if you can make your way over to come see us, please do. I'm also an Agricenter board member, and you probably say, why? Why be an Agricenter board member? Because I believe that food security is necessary, and I think that it is very important what Agricenter is doing in helping people to understand the importance of the agriculture industry. Agricenter International is a nonprofit whose mission is to advance knowledge and understanding of agriculture. Traditionally, Agricenter educates over 10,000 students each year about agriculture and where the food and fiber comes from. Before we begin our program today, I'd like to ask John Charles Wilson, President Emeritus of Agricenter International, to come to the stage and give us our prayer. Now, John Charles was the president of Agricenter from 2000 to 2015, and we are honored to have him here today. So, John Charles, come on up.
Thank you. Let me add my welcome to all of you for being here for Ag Day. It's especially appropriate that we talk about agriculture and talk about our farmers and ranchers that are taking care of our food supply for this country. And we certainly appreciate all they're doing. It's going to be a tough year for them, and we need to pray for them with all the inputs that they're having a problem getting and the cost of labor and fuels, all these things. while our prices look real good, when you look at the cost of all of this that's going in to put a crop in, it narrows the margin on any kind of profit that you make. But let's pray for them. Bow your head, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you, dear Lord, for this beautiful day after the storm, dear Lord, that we had last night. And Father, we thank you for taking care of us through that storm. Lord, we do pray for our farmers, our ranchers, those people that work day to day in the dirt, in the heat, in the dust. Lord, we pray for them. We ask, Lord, that you would guide them, give them strength through this crop. Lord, bless them with a bountiful harvest, dear Lord. We pray for this. Lord, we also pray for those men and women that many are in this room that help to provide those things that the farmers need to make these crops. And Lord, we thank you for them as well. Lord, we ask that you would be with the people of Ukraine, dear Lord. We pray for them, Lord. We ask you, Lord, to take over this situation, Lord, and bring an end to it, a successful end, Lord, and bring this tyranny to an end, Father, and the people that are causing it. Lord, we ask that you would bless this food that you have so provided for us, Lord. We ask that you would bless it to the nourishment of our bodies and us to your service. Lord, go with us and guide us and give us traveling mercies home. All these things we ask in thy name. Amen.
Now let me introduce Agricenter International's president and CEO, Mr. John Butler, who will be my co-host for today's program. John is a fifth-generation farmer who has been president of Agricenter for a little more than 6 years. John is passionate about the importance of U.S. agriculture and its role in providing the world with nutritious and economical products. Without further ado, John Butler.
So thank y'all. Oh, that's fine. First off, I want to just say this is a great looking audience. I mean, you guys look great. So for us, kind of channeling back to the way we used to do Ag Day, in-person event, I love it. So last year was virtual, and I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy it. I did, but it was certainly a challenge because you couldn't feel all the excitement in the room that's here today. So one, I want to thank you for taking a moment out of your busy schedule to celebrate National Ag Day. And before you ask me, yes, I know that was officially last week, March 22nd. But for us, as farmers and ranchers, we kind of celebrate it the whole week. So it's kind of like we know Thanksgiving is on a particular day, but we're going to celebrate it the whole week long. So Ag Day is kind of that for us, and we certainly appreciate a couple of things. One, your attendance here, but we also want to acknowledge our young artists in the room. So if you're an artist that's going to be talked about today, I don't want to embarrass you, but I would like for you to stand and take a little bit of applause, please. Let's encourage them. Come on. All of our artists, come on. Let's go. Thank you very much. Thank y'all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank y'all. So again, not too much, but we want to, so for a lot of you may say, well, why is agriculture supporting these young men and women? And I'll tell you why. This is a tradition that started years ago, and it's a great opportunity for us to recognize young men and young women that have amazing talent. So anything we can do to help the industry and also help the community grow stronger, have deeper roots, and our young people are more successful, that's what we're about. So a lot of these young men and women are going to come up, you're going to see their pictures. Please spend some time and walk around after the event. They're really some amazing artists. I have a winner from 3 years ago, young lady that participated and was one of the winners, and I have her picture in my office. And historically, we've had these pictures distributed all around the state of Tennessee. We've had some in the State House, we've had some at the mayor's office, and we've also had some at the Department of Ag. So again, you never know what's going to come from encouraging people to follow their dream. So I want to just congratulate you again, and y'all are going to have an opportunity to celebrate with these young people as well, and we're very excited about that. So I also want to thank Larry. So Larry Robertson is the CEO of Kazukian. They're also a tenant here on the campus, and they're a great partner. Larry mentioned that he's also a new board member, and we're very excited. We have a lot of board members and commissioners in the room, and they're going to be a little embarrassed as well, but we're going to ask them to stand, all right, and give them a hand. Come on, ladies, gentlemen, thank you very much. So this is just a great representation of the men and women that live in the community that donate their time, energy, and resources to support the nonprofit. So certainly appreciate all of y'all's partnership, and Larry's a great example of that. So Larry, I'm not going to say he kind of roped into helping us co-host this event, but it was kind of like that. We kind of argued about how that happened, and then he kind of halfway got voluntold, I think maybe is the way. But I also want to acknowledge in the room, you'll see his production team here. So let's give a hand for the Kazukian team that's taping the event. And just for the record, Chuck, I still get editorial purposes as I see the cut. So thank y'all very much for that. I do want to say just a few things. As a fifth-generation farmer, I love the opportunity to have a chance to speak to mostly maybe an urban audience and tell you that, and John Charles mentioned it, but the farmers and ranchers, especially in the state of Tennessee and around this country, are amazing men and women that donate every ounce of their life to support our food system. And I'll just be honest with you, a lot of years, the margins at the end of the day are not that great. And so, you know, for me, have an opportunity to kind of honor and pay respect to all that hard work, but also acknowledge where we're sitting. So we're sitting in one of the most productive regions in the country, and quite frankly, one of the most productive regions in the world, the Mid-South, the Delta, and we've got, you know, some amazing farmland, great producers, and they're very diverse. So they grow everything from sweet potatoes to peanuts to rice to soybeans, and I've got just a little bit of a story I want to tell you about Tennessee agriculture. So in case y'all haven't had a chance to see this, I'm going to give a plug for the Tennessee Ag Insider. It came out just a couple of days ago, and it's a great article. It's a magazine around the industry, some wonderful stories, but I'm going to read just a few of the facts out of it, okay? So Tennessee agriculture, currently #1 export is soybeans. We have 69,000 farms in our state, $81 billion industry with a B, average farm size, 155 acres. And this, I didn't know, we have a goat herd that is 97,880 head. Andy, I did not know that. That's pretty incredible. So we are 4th in the nation on the size of the goat herd in the state of Tennessee. Now, nobody laughed at that at all. That's awesome. So another thing, there's a great article about what's growing in Tennessee on cash receipts. And just for a record, I was born in Northwest Tennessee. We are a little county called Dyer County, and we're known historically for having #1 soybean acres in the state of Tennessee. And as of last year, for 2020, Tennessee soybean producers sold $800 million worth of soybeans around the world. What an amazing story. 1.62 million acres with 81 million bushels. So that's #1. Corn and cash sales, 537 million. 3 cattle and calves. I'm a 5th-generation cattle producer. Love the cattle industry. 512 million. So you can see very easily it adds up. And so the ag ecosystem is extremely important to the Tennessee economy. It's the #1 business, and it's certainly something that we're here to support. I want to thank everybody for indulging me in the opportunity to share a few of the facts with you. And then my other job, I'm getting to it very quickly, Larry, my other job is to introduce our next speaker. So it's certainly an honor to have the opportunity to introduce you to Director Cliff Norville. So Director Norville is a lifelong resident of Shelby County, a wonderful friend of the nonprofit, actually serves on the Agricenter Commission. He's a licensed professional engineer in the state of Tennessee. He's worked for engineering companies and firms around the county, has a 33-year tenure here with Shelby County government, and in 2019, Mayor Lee Harris appointed him Shelby County Director of Public Works. So we're very fortunate to have a friend in state government like Director Norville, and I would just like to acknowledge, as we talk about, county and state government, that we have Commissioner David Bradford here as well. He's not going to like for me to call him out, but Commissioner Bradford, it's great to see you, and it's my pleasure. I hope you would join me in welcoming Director Cliff Norville.
Thank you, John, for that introduction. Man, I sounded pretty good, didn't I? I hope I can live up to that. First of all, want to bring a welcome to you from Mayor Harris. As you can imagine, being the mayor of the largest county in the state of Tennessee, every day and every minute of his life is pulled in multiple directions, and he regrets that he is not able to be here today, but he does send his regards and appreciation to everyone involved here today. So unfortunately, you have to deal with the lesser talented, less attractive stunt double in our comments today. I'd like to thank John and the Agricenter for hosting this. I'm excited that we do get back together and start having these in-person events again. Our entire world was turned upside down for the past 2 years, and who knows how long it's going to take us to recover from the impact of that. But I'm looking forward to this being a great opportunity to begin. I do want to express a thanks to our sponsors here today with the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, the UT Extension Institute of Architecture, and Mid-South NAMA. Now, I understand I'm dealing with an audience that is experienced in agriculture, and I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that I have a lot of experience with that. My father-in-law did grow up as a farmer, and he worked for Associated Milk Producers for about 40 years. And during that tenure, he did drag me out to the good old-fashioned Mid-South Fairgrounds when he was running the milking parlor. And so I did have experience milking cows on several years at the fair, and I did learn a few things. I learned that it's not a good idea to let a cow step on your foot. It gets your attention immediately. I learned that you don't wear your Sunday clothes to the milking parlor because you can't get those stains out. And I also learned that you need to wear boots that go above the ankle when you're cleaning out the holding pen at the end of the milking session. So I have learned a few things about that. My great-grandfather was a farmer, and he farmed some land up in the thriving metropolis of Gadsden, Tennessee, in Crockett County. And I do remember vaguely, he passed away when I was very, very young, but my grandfather moved to Memphis back during the Great Depression and got a job here with Sears and Roebuck, but he still maintained the farm as best he could and had my cousins running the farm. And I do remember him farming beans and corn over a period of time, and we as kids would love to go up there to the farm. And we would run all over. He had about 80 acres around the house and then another 40 acres a mile or so away. And we would run all over the fields as kids, and we loved it because he had a creek in the back of the property, and we did stuff that the Department of Child Services would probably frown upon these days, but we didn't know the difference, and we had a good time. And so all of that I remember very fondly, and I hate that it's not available more often today. But as John said, I've lived in Shelby County my whole life, and I've worked for Shelby County government over half of my life. And I'm here to tell you that I think Agricenter and this 1,000-acre farm that we have committed to here in Shelby County is probably the best and most forward-thinking investment that Shelby County has ever entered into, because we truly do impact the entire world from this location. And it just goes to show you, it's hard to believe that Agricenter has been here in operation for over 40 years, and the best part about that is their purpose and their place in our community is more relevant now than ever. It doesn't take us very much other than turning on the news in the evening to be filled with all the issues that are happening around the world and understand that agriculture plays a very vital role in that. You know, we see global conflicts happening, we see food shortages, we see fuel price increases, all of those things secure the need for agriculture in this community and the world for the rest of our lives. I do appreciate the partnerships and the opportunities that I've been able to experience. You know, John sort of mentioned that I serve on the Agriculture Commission. I also have a great opportunity to work with the UT Extension, and I appreciate the partnerships that they have here at the Agricenter too. They put on so many programs. You've been beneficial of some of those, but they literally impact thousands of people in our Shelby County community every single year, and that is very critical. And I think it is incumbent upon us to be good stewards of our resources when it's all said and done. In addition to my opportunity to enjoy the Extension Service and the Ag Commission, I do interact with the Chickasaw Basin Authority and the Soil Conservation Board here in Shelby County. And those are very important entities impacting agriculture as well as our community. You know, we focus in those particular organizations, we focus on things like flood control, soil erosion, water quality, and all of those impact the agricultural community as well. So I appreciate this meeting to celebrate the agriculture in our community, and I appreciate the fact that these kind of events are going to grow leaders in our community in the agriculture industry. I appreciate the exhibitors that we're going to get to enjoy here in a little bit, and the opportunities that our students are given to learn more about agriculture, participate in these art competitions, opportunities like the 4-H Club. All of those are critical to this community to train the leaders for us, because when it boils down to it, we're enjoying a great meal here today because we have people that are committed to feeding us and feeding the world right here in Shelby County. So thank you for your participation and enjoy the day.
So I didn't know it'd be possible, but I learned a lot from your presentation, Director Norville. I had no idea you had a connection to a dairy farm. We have a couple of dairy guys and gals in the room, and I make this statement generally that I've done everything you can do in agriculture except make a living milking a cow, and I'm a beef cattle guy, but I wouldn't milk a cow for $1 million. I have the utmost respect for everybody that's worked on a dairy farm, so that's awesome. You know, it's really incredible to have and to listen to a story like that where everybody can have, no matter how far back you go, 1, 2, 3, 4 generations, a connection to the land, a connection to the farm. And I really believe here in the Mid-South that that statement is really truthful and accurate, and it resonates with all of us. We have a story about an experience that is super positive on our upbringing, and I have a lot of those. I see, like Fred Nichols in the room, grew up on a farm, now works in communications here in the city, but you would never know he had that background until you take a minute and spend some time with him. And I would just say, we've got some incredible friends and partners, and everything we do as a nonprofit, we would not be successful if it wasn't for partners like that. And so I just want to just take a moment and thank all of our partners in the room. Several of those are here. You're going to see them in the industry showcase. And I'm just going to make a plug for the dairy industry. So part of the showcase, we're going to have some homemade ice cream. And if you haven't had a chance to partake of the Good Scoops ice cream, you should do that. So my next assignment, and yes, I'm moving on to the agenda, Larry. My next assignment is to introduce a really good friend of mine. So it's always an honor when you have a chance to, allow somebody to come to the mic that you've known for a very long time. I call him Representative Holt. I know you're no longer a state representative, but Mr. Andy Holt is the current Director of Business Development for Tennessee Department of Agriculture. He leads divisions consultants and assists with economic development projects, and it's really awesome to have the opportunity to pair agriculture with economic development. And so I know Andy will be just an amazing at this job, and I certainly can think back. I'm not going to tell too many stories, Andy, but one of our first meetings was probably, 25 years ago, and it was at a Farm Bureau meeting, and Lee Maddox was going to film us, and I had never met Andy, so he was doing the interview right in front of my interview. And those of you who don't know Lee Maddox, he runs communications for Tennessee Farm Bureau. And we were talking on some subjects that were important to us and very passionate about it. And if you know me, you know I'm always passionate. I may not be right, but at least I'm passionate about my story. Well, Andy is the same way. Now, no offense, Representative Holt. He may not be right, but you're going to know exactly where he stands. And I love that about him, and I love that about the industry. So a lot of times, farmers and ranchers, those of us in the industry, Larry's laughing, but you're going to define us by, well, he or she is very plain spoken. And that just means simply, we're going to tell our truth. We hope it's going to be the truth, but sometimes, Representative Holt, it just isn't, is it? Andy served representing District 76 in the House of Representatives from 2010 to 2020. And I'll just say that his service represented Tennessee agriculture, rural West Tennessee in a very exemplary fashion. I can't say enough good things. He's a good friend, a wonderful advocate. He's going to be an absolutely amazing member of the Department of Ag. He's a farmer himself. He understands what's important for the state and for the industry to be successful. And it's just an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to introduce you to Andy Holt.
Well, thanks for that great introduction, John. Anytime somebody starts talking about stories from 25 years ago, I do kind of sometimes wonder which direction is this headed. But appreciate the invitation, appreciate Agricenter allowing me to come down and speak. And I bring greetings from the Department of Agriculture, and specifically from the Commissioner of Agriculture, Charlie Hatcher. And he's the 38th Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Tennessee. And speaking of the dairy industry, he is a current dairyman and actually operates, he and his family operate the Hatcher Family Dairy in Williamson County. If anybody's ever had any Hatcher Family Dairy milk or any other dairy products, it's wonderful. So I do want to say, again, thanks for the opportunity to be here, and what a great day to have an Ag Day celebration on, because I can promise you, if there's not being corn planted right now, there's some folks who are itching to get equipment ready and to get that crop in the ground. And much like what was stated earlier, we're looking at a great forecast for income on agriculture, but we do have to recognize that input prices and a lot of things that are going on around the globe are putting a lot of pressure on agriculture right now, really in an almost unprecedented way. But I wanted to talk to you about agriculture generally. So on our state seal, y'all are probably familiar with the state seal, there are two words predominantly displayed on the state seal. And what are those two words? agriculture and commerce, if we say them in alphabetical order. And you know what? Agriculture and commerce, which when our state was founded in 1796, were the predominant industries that took place all those years ago. And guess what? Now in 2022, they're the two most predominant industries in the state of Tennessee. There are some things that don't change very often with time, and that has been one of the bedrocks for those of us in agriculture in Tennessee. So the reason why those two things are put on our state seal is because our state has always emphasized agriculture and always emphasized commerce. And in my opinion, the two really are inseparable. Another pair of words, in my opinion, that are inseparable go a little further down into the ag sector, but that would be agriculture and forestry. All right? I'm going to give you a little background about where we're at. John already alluded to a lot of these things. Thanks, John, for stealing part of my speech here. But when we look at agriculture, it's the number one industry in the state of Tennessee. It's undisputed. I mean, it's not even close. And when you say, well, yeah, but we got Ford coming in right down the road here, and that's going to really change things. And guess what? That really is going to change things a lot. But guess what? Not going to change the fact that agriculture is going to be our number one output in the state of Tennessee. It's going to be our number one actually purveyor of jobs in the entire economy in the state. Again, as was mentioned earlier, $81 billion. You will not find a county, a region, a municipality, any town in the state of Tennessee that's not impacted directly and indirectly by agricultural production. Ag is something that so many folks, maybe even some folks in this room, take for granted every day. Every time we sit down at the table, that is production agriculture that's sitting right in front of us. You know, the old adage is, you know, you're going to need a doctor every once in a while. You may unfortunately have to have an attorney that you may have to deal with, but you're going to deal with a farmer at least 3 times a day. And for most of us, about 4 times a day, plus a few snacks kind of stuck in between those actual meals. And so all of us need to recognize the value and the importance, and that's why we should celebrate agriculture on a day, much like we're doing today. So the current numbers, again, John took some of these from me, and that's okay. I appreciate the fact that you're reading the Ag Insider. But you look at the types of industries that we have and the diversity that we have across the state of Tennessee, it's absolutely amazing. They're from East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee, almost completely different geographies, almost completely different, almost entirely different states to some degree, culturally, agriculturally, and a lot of other ways. But when we look at soybeans, corn, cattle, and poultry, those are our big bedrock industries that we have within agriculture, and those are things that we continue to pour into from the Department of Agriculture, and we continue to try to see that those subcategories of agriculture continue to remain healthy and strong, and the demand for those things is off the charts at this point. It really is amazing. We do have a problem, though, in Tennessee. And I don't want to shock anybody. I don't want to scare anybody, because this statistic, although it sounds really bad, it's not as bad as it may seem, but we're actually the 4th worst state in the nation right now for converting high-value agricultural land into non-agricultural use. And you may say, oh my goodness, that means like we're going to run out of farmland just within the next couple of years. Absolutely not. That is not the case. We have a very productive landscape in the state of Tennessee, but we are, because we're the most moved to state in the nation at this moment, and many of you all are feeling the effects of that. If you've had an appraisal on your home anytime recently, you definitely can understand that and see the significance. But a lot of people are pouring here. They're coming from other states because we have a wonderful state. We have 4 seasons. We have great government management. We're in a healthy economic position. We're a moneymaker. We're one of the states that actually through COVID actually increased our profitability and increased the state's revenues. People want to move here, and as a result of that, they're building houses on places that used to be farms. They're building factories on places that used to be an old dairy or used to be a row crop field. And I don't want to scare anybody. That's not the intention. But what I want us to be recognizing is that agriculture is still the number one industry. We still have lots of agricultural land, but we are converting at a higher rate ag to non-ag land at a rate higher than a lot of other states. So again, just be mindful of that and be talking about that. If there's ways to use existing facilities that are not going to consume previously used land for agriculture, let's try to use that. I want to leave you with three things today, and I'm going to run through these really quickly. And I don't know the crowd, so I'm just going to ask some questions. How many of you all currently live on a farm today? Okay. How many of you all grew up on a farm but don't live on a farm right now? Okay. How many of y'all who have never lived on a farm? Okay, so mainly a non-ag crowd, okay? Well, let me bring some comfort to you. So I've got a cowboy hat on. I know it's a really nice hat, too. It's pretty, isn't it? Take a lot of pride in my hats. You have to do that when you're fat and bald like I am. Cover up as much as you possibly can. But I grew up in a completely non-ag family. And I chose agriculture as a profession in the 3rd grade, which is funny. Unlike John, I'm not a 5th-generation farmer. Now, I married a young lady who's a 9th-generation farmer, but I am a 1st-generation farmer. And so I tell you that because there's so much opportunity in agriculture, and that's really the 3 points that I want to leave you with. So first of all, point number 1, times are changing. Times are changing in agriculture in a huge way. So if we look at prices, if we look at consumer demands and preferences, if we look at markets, the way we market crop, the way we market finished goods, if we look at the supply chain bottlenecks that all of us have experienced, if we look at the perceptions of agriculture, things change. If you don't live on a farm, sometimes you get a little suspicious about what is going on that farm over there. They sure have a lot of cows over there. They sure have a lot of chickens or a lot of hogs in one spot. Sure is a lot of corn out there. People start to draw conclusions and start to make speculative thoughts about certain activities when they really are not educated about those activities. And I think that's something that those of us who in agriculture have got to do is we have to recognize that because of those changes that have taken place, we have to be more, and I wrote these words down, flexible and proactive to adopting change. We also need to be more intent on educating folks about agriculture. Here's the thing. Folks who consume food in the United States take it for granted, okay? It's the cheapest food supply in the world. It's the safest food supply in the world. And it's also the most abundant food supply in the world. So when something is safe, cheap, and abundant, you know what you do? You take it for granted. And that is the position that we have gotten to as Americans. And that's a dangerous place. When I was in 3rd grade, my parents hosted a family from Kazakhstan that were missionaries that came to our church. We picked these folks up at the airport, and I lived in Knoxville at the time. In the process of driving back from the airport at Knoxville to our home where they were going to spend the night with us, we stopped at a grocery store. And Bruce Pravatsky was this man's name. I can't recall his wife's first name, but we walked into a grocery store because my mom had to pick up a few items because she's going to feed these extra folks who are going to be at our house. This woman came in, and I'll never forget, I was walking with the 2 daughters. We'd gotten significantly ahead of our parents, and as we were walking in, all of a sudden, the 2 girls that were with me turned around and ran back, and their mom was actually in the floor and looked like she was doubled over. And I thought, man, she had a heart attack or something going on, whatever else. She had never seen that much food in one place in her entire life, and she was overwhelmed by that to the point of crying, because she had never seen that much food in one spot. And she thought that this had to be the grocery store for our entire region of the country, because there's no way there could be that much food in one spot for just a local community. Little did she realize that we were going to pass multiple grocery stores before we got to our house. It's dangerous when we take food for granted. And agriculture is the industry that supplies that food to the table. So times are changing, number 1. Number 2, the future is actually extremely bright, all right? So those of you young people who are here in the crowd today, and you may be thinking, agriculture, I'll do some art for ag, but I'm not going to choose that as a career because I'm not going to go out there and work in the heat and stay in the cold and get kicked by cows while I'm milking them or whatever else. There's no way. Well, the issue is that there's so much more to agriculture than just the actual being on the farm. There is, and I wrote down a lot of stuff here, so I can't go over all of it, but we have soil science, animal science, medical advancements, climate, finance, sales, engineering, research, public relations, or any number of other types of careers that can be embedded within agriculture. If you have no interest in actually working the land or working with the animals that we're deriving all these goods from, there's a world of other business opportunities in agriculture that you should be considering. Also, ag is the most technically innovative series of scientific disciplines on earth. And you may say, Andy, that is the craziest statement I've ever heard anybody say. I mean, we're talking about sending, people to Mars or whatever else. I promise you, I guarantee the science that takes place every day within the field of agriculture would trump any other scientific endeavor. And if you don't believe me, spend some time looking at the advancements that agriculture has made throughout the last several decades. It's astonishing. It's unbelievable the amount of food that we're producing on the acreage that we have available to us right now. And the thing is the need is even further. We're going to have to produce more food per acre. We're going to have to produce more beef per animal. We're going to have to produce more milk per cow to meet the growing demand. Number 3, and the last point, and I promise I'll let you go with this. The need for agriculture is more important now than it's ever been. Okay? And I'm going to make a statement here that is intended to be as powerful as it sounds, okay? Food security is the first step in national security. And when you look at what's going on in Ukraine right now, because of Russia's aggression toward this very agriculturally rich land, it's having an impact on everybody, not just the folks who live in Ukraine, not just the countries around Ukraine that are having to absorb the immigration that's taken place because of the war that's taken place there. It's having an effect on us. The sanctions that have been placed on Russia are having an impact on our capital markets. They're having an impact on our labor markets. They're going to continue to have an impact on our agriculture input markets. And the last thing we need, all those things are tough. They're bad. But the last thing that we need as Americans is for the pressure to be put on our availability to purchase food to take home and feed our families. We should never retreat from the fact that agriculture and food security is the most important thing that we can do for ourselves as a domestic population. We have to be able to feed ourselves. And that's why agriculture, in my opinion, again, at the foundation of our state, really at the foundation of our nation, at the dawn of human history, eating is one of the most fundamental things that we've got to do every day, or we should do, and it's still important today. So I will leave you with this. We need to attract new talent into agriculture, and this crowd is majority folks who don't live on a farm. I want you to hear me that as a person who chose agriculture for my career in the 3rd grade, okay, because I did not want to be a plumber like my dad, the availability and the opportunity is there for you as well. And if you have questions, I'd love to talk to you. There's several other folks here that can talk to you about that. But at the end of the day, I'm here to celebrate agriculture because I love it and I live it, and I want to invite more people to the wonderful life that I live that is agriculture. So thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you, Andy. And I can tell you, you've given me even more reasons to be in love with Memphis and Agricenter. Because, I mean, one, people don't realize Agricenter is the largest urban farm in the United States. Let that sink in. The largest urban farm in the United States. So I absolutely love this organization and love being in the agriculture space. Now, once again, thank you, Andy. Today we are honored to have a panel of experts discussing how the ag industry is developing its future leaders. Serving as our moderator, we have Ms. Margaret Odom. Come on up. Margaret, Jim Todd, Joe McKinnon, and Colleen Corey, please come up. So, throughout her career, Margaret has consulted with clients such as Indigo Ag, Elanco Animal Health, FMC, Syngenta, Bayer Animal Health, and Deere & Company. She's worked with clients to implement marketing strategies in the animal health and crop protection and marketing specialty crops. Joining Margaret on stage are Jim Todd, Joe McKinnon, and Colleen Corey. Jim Todd, the director of Shelby County Extension, Director Todd has spent his career with either Tennessee or Alabama Extension Services, where he has been dedicated to providing leadership development to both youth and adult audiences. Joe McKinnon is a regional field director and field services administrator with Tennessee Farm Bureau. He earned a BS in agricultural business from UT Martin, has been a committed and passionate member of the Tennessee Farm Bureau team since 1988. Colleen Corey is West Tennessee Public Affairs Coordinator for the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. She joined the TDA in 2015. She has more than 20 years of experience working in equine sports marketing, corporate relations, and destination marketing. All four of these distinguished ag professionals are also members of Agricenter's Board of Directors. Please give them a hand.
Hi, everyone. I'm Margaret Oldham, and so excited to see the faces in the audience today, both young and old. Many of you here may be learning about agriculture for the first time, in depth anyway, and I really am hoping that one of our artists today will be on this stage talking about how agriculture impacted their life in a few years. So that's my goal. Let's see if we can make that happen. We are excited today to talk about developing leaders in agriculture. It's a really important thing because you've already heard from our other speakers about how important the ag industry is to our state and our nation. And we really can't keep that engine going without a lot of leadership. So we've got some great folks here today to tell us about their organizations and how they are working to develop leaders. And I'm really excited about the fact that we've got everything from people representing youth and children all the way up to adults, and because we can always learn to be more effective as leaders. So why don't we just kind of go down the line here, and I'll pass, okay, we'll just pass the microphone, yeah? And we'll start with you, Colleen, and if you'll tell us a bit about TDA and about what you're doing to, as a mission toward developing leaders.
Okay, well, at TDA, as all of you know, I'm sure, we are very active in supporting our extension services, our 4-H programs, our FFA programs. We are all very strong supporters of. But Commissioner Hatcher is also very, very passionate about education. So I do spend a good amount of my time talking to children from kindergarten to seniors in high school. We participate a lot in career days. We do a lot of farm education days. I was just in Chester County on Tuesday, and the Chester County Extension had a farm day, and that's what I spent a majority of my afternoon talking to very young children about the importance of agriculture. So that is a big part of my job, doing that outreach. And I think, it's important to talk to kids about careers when they hit, 9th grade and start to get involved in FFA. But I think there's a lot of value in, getting children in the primary grades. I would love to, say that we've got a public school curriculum where we talk about reading, writing, arithmetic, and agriculture, because it is the foundation of life. And there isn't any part of our life that isn't touched by agriculture. And Andy really did a good job, talking about that. And I would love to say that every 3rd grade child I talk to is a future Andy Holt. So. And that's a compliment, Andy. But it's so important. So I think at this point, the way I feel personally, the younger the better that we can get kids exposed to agriculture.
And just to build on that, everything that you're doing there, if you don't know about FFA or 4-H, I think I noticed some students here with 4-H. Yes? Yeah, at the back. Please check them out. Learn more about that organization. It's a great one. Let's go to you, Joe, and would you tell us a bit about what Farm Bureau is doing to develop leaders?
Well, Farm Bureau was started in 1921 to help farmers to get the word out, protect the industry that they are part of, and develop programs for that. We're probably known for our insurance operation, but we're actually so much more than that. Similar to what was said, we support the 4-H programs, the FFA programs. We have a program called Agriculture in the Classroom, where we can provide materials to teachers, free of charge, most of it, to not to make kids farmers, but maybe just to make them aware of how agriculture is is a part of their lives. So I'm going to do a little experiment right quick. Anybody know what this is? All right. Usually when I do a farm day, like Colleen was talking about, I'm usually doing a miniature cotton gin, and I'll ask the kids if they know what this is. And of course, they'll all say a dollar bill or money. So anybody want to take a guess at what our money is made out of? How many say trees, wood, paper? It's paper money, right? Okay, paper comes from trees. This is 75% cotton, 25% linen. That's why you can wash this and you can't wash those kids' homework. So that agriculture in the classroom will teach things like that. I noticed Grant Shaw from the Cotton Board, they help fund ag in the classroom, and that's actually one of the stories that come from them. So we do that. We have a Young Farmers and Ranchers program that is our leadership program. We support some other leadership programs throughout the state, one that I run called AgStar, and we're constantly looking for ways to get farmers in particular, but to help people within the ag industry to talk their story, tell what they're doing on their farm, tell what they're doing in their job. You know, I did have the fortune of being raised on a farm, but I haven't been back on that farm in well, my entire career. I'm about as close right now as I've been. I'm about a half mile away. But agriculture is so much more. I encourage you to do some research of what other opportunities are out there in agriculture that you might be able to take a part of, because agriculture needs leaders, agriculture needs people that will speak for that industry every day. So.
That's an important point that you've heard several people say. You don't have to milk a cow or break soil or plant a seed to be in agriculture. We need accountants, we need communication folks, we need marketing majors. We were having a laugh about that earlier. But agriculture needs people that are doing lots of things, scientists to help discover the next new thing. And so all of these organizations are helping develop leaders that will eventually do that. Let's hear more from Jim Todd about what your group's doing.
Well, thank you for being here, for allowing me to be here, for one thing, to represent UT-TSU Extension. And I'll start out by saying this, is that Extension has been around since 1912. And for 110 years plus, you know, we've had a role in leadership development. The major role with the adults have been over the years have been helping organizations like Farm Bureau, a lot of the associations that you think of as soybean, you know, all your commodity associations, nursery, forestry associations, things like that. Extension's always had a role in that leadership development in getting those organizations off the ground. Current ones that we have right now that are really strong are Master Gardener. We have some Master Gardeners here. If you're a Master Gardener, raise your hand. So we have a few Master Gardeners that are helping us today. That's a program that we train adults to not only conduct horticultural programs, but to be advocates for agriculture as they're conducting those programs. They extend what our agents can do. We have a new farm academy right now for small farmers. Joanne Waterman operates that program. If you've been through that program, raise your hand. I knew we had at least one that's in here, maybe others. That program is, right now, they have about 20 people enrolled. That'll make over 100 people that have been trained over the last 4 years since COVID started. And they learn about all the resources that are available here locally. And again, you know, they learn about their industry, but also how important it is to share that information with others and be advocates for agriculture out there. And of course, Margaret mentioned our couple of young ladies back here in the back. They're part of a 4-H ambassador program, which is exactly, they're doing what we're here about, is to be leaders in their community and to help people learn more about the programs that go on with youth development. We have, I can't help but, I don't see John, but I can't help but to do this. We have a tremendous partnership here for youth education with Agricenter. So we're joined at the hip, so to speak, when it comes to our education. Tim Roberts, you're going to hear from him later, is director of that program. But that's what they do, is that they work with youth basically from 9 years old and up, even those that are just past high school age a little bit, in developing youth programs. Talk to Tim about our summer Ag Tech program, and that's an awesome program that also develops young leaders. So whether you're youth or you're adults, the biggest thing that all of us can do in this room is to be strong advocates for agriculture. You may not go into that field, but it's like Representative Holt said, is that we need to be advocates and to share our story and to be proud to tell that story of agriculture. I wasn't raised on a farm either, but I chose to be in agriculture for my given, and I don't have anything to do with production or anything to do like that, but we're all about education and educating people, and so that's kind of what we're about right there in our mission with UT Extension, is to just increase the quality of life of people through research-based information, and we do that through agriculture, natural resources, our 4-H youth development program, and our family consumer science programs.
I love what you said about everybody can be an advocate for agriculture. That's so important. I used to talk about my bus stop mom little support group and my focus group, and we would often talk about the price of food, the price of milk, or what recipes we were cooking. And I tried to really share with them that we're always in good shape because of the security we have in our country about our food production. But if we ever start importing our chicken nuggets, we're going to be in a mess. So what these organizations are doing are trying to start from the ground up to raise people into the agricultural world, and that will take that leadership role. Colleen, would you tell us a bit more about why this is an important mission for the Tennessee Department of Ag, and why the organization is really investing time and resources in doing that?
In promoting.
Yeah, in promoting ag and building leaders.
Well, it's so important because all of you young people are the future of agriculture. And, we've talked a lot about education, but what I'm finding out, I had the privilege of being raised on a farm, and I took that for granted for most of, my childhood and adult life, and until I started with the department about 8 years ago, and I thought, wow, I am one of the luckiest people on the planet. And I never really appreciated that, and like I said, until I got into my adult years. But we're finding more and more, and this is a theme that resonates, that people are getting more and more removed from the farm. And we only think of it as an urban problem, but it is a rural issue as well. I'll tell a quick story. So our prior commissioner, Jay Templeton, called me on a Monday evening about 9 o'clock at night, and he said, Colleen, I need you to go to McNairy County to Adamsville. And I said, well, what's going on? And he said, well, the English teacher, the 8th grade English teacher, asked children to write an essay about agriculture. Now, this is McNairy County, very rural, Adamsville, very rural. 75% of her 8th graders raised their hands and asked what agriculture was. He said, I need you to get down there, and I pulled in some of our foresters and our extension to help give a little program about agriculture and explain to these rural country kids. It was really, kind of a oh my goodness moment for me, because again, these kids live around farmland, but yet they didn't understand the importance of agriculture. And you hear it more and more. Kids don't understand where their food comes from. And you know what, folks? We have a lot of adults that don't understand the importance of agriculture. We have a lot of people moving into Tennessee from, major metropolitan areas that don't understand what our farmers do. There's just a lot of misrepresentation out there. And so I think all of us as agriculture advocates and professionals need to really tell our message. And I think farmers are a very humble group of people, and I just don't think we tell our story enough. So like Margaret said, we all have this theme. We need all of you to be advocates for our industry because, again, I can't say enough, it is the most important industry in the world, number one in our state of Tennessee. And we need to keep getting that message out there on a continuous basis.
Joe, from your perspective, what are some of the challenges that are facing the industry that you're working to, support leaders to address those issues that are on the horizon?
One of the biggest challenges is actually finding leaders to speak up. Farmers, by and large, don't like to be bothered. They like to go out and do their job. They like to provide the food, fiber, and the fuel for you every day. Just leave me alone, let me do my job. That's what I want to do. So you have to kind of coerce them sometimes into speaking on behalf of their industry. When they do a superb job, but they just are reluctant to do it. They don't like to brag about their operations, anything like that, and it's always a struggle to get them to step up, to get them to get it off the tractor. There was a gentleman in Madison County one time named Homer Jones, and Homer Jones told me that he told his son, he said, son, and he referred to Farm Bureau, said, Farm Bureau is so important to our industry, you need to get off the tractor and support them. And Mr. Homer lived that statement. His son never did, but he told him anyway. So it's a constant struggle to find people who are willing to speak. They don't necessarily have to speak if they just show up at meetings, and maybe they don't ever say a word, but if they show support, especially if it happens to be with a congressman or a state senator or a state representative or the governor, a lot of times they're looking for numbers. But if they're willing to speak, that's even better. If they're willing to go to Nashville or go to Washington, and so we need farmers to do that. I agree with what was said, though. Learn about the agricultural industry that you're not a part of. You can do some research. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, okay? Maybe call somebody that you know that knows a farmer. Most of the farmers, if you ask them, they'll take some of their time and explain to you their operation. But we are needing people, whether they farm or not, to be supporters of this industry, because while farmers are some of the most trusted professionals, way higher than lawyers and politicians, they're still not, they're also one of the least understood. People seem to think that today, Andy touched on this, that we still use small tractors, that sort of thing, but we use tractors that have computers, they have air conditioning. I mean, it's their office, and they can farm a lot of ground today, but they're still family farms. Over 96% of the farms in this country are family farms. Now, they may raise food for Tyson or somebody like that, but they're still a family farm, and we need people understanding that when they're talking about agriculture.
Joe, thank you. The last question I'll close with from our panel is to ask Jim to just touch on, how could these programs, where we're developing leaders from youth all the way through adulthood, how could these programs impact the future? What's the vision and the hope for how these programs can really develop leaders that will take our industry forward into the future?
Margaret, we've mentioned several things. We've mentioned, the advocacy part of it, but I really think that we need young people and existing farmers and producers like that. I'll start by saying this, is that if we continue doing the same things that we've been doing, we're going to get the same results. And I think y'all heard Representative Holt say that that can't happen. We have to have better results in order to feed people. So what we need people to do is to learn the technology. And I'm beyond learning a whole lot of new technology, but we've got a lot of young people out here. Those of you that entered these art contests, there's a lot of technology in some of the art that I'm just looking at right there. But you guys are smart, your young farmers are smart, our current farmers are smart, and they can continue to move us forward with learning this new technology. And then they can also address this increased interest that we have, especially in urban areas, on local food and that local food movement and what's going on out there. So, being able to address that to, both on the production side and on the consumer side, there's tremendous interest. And so being able to do that is where we're going to have to be in the future. It's going to take small farmers, large farmers, young people getting into technology, young people applying their economic skills or marketing skills or presentation skills, all of these different things that you can learn focused on that area. And then again, I will just end by saying that everyone in this room and those of you, those young people that did this art, take away a message that you did a great and fantastic and beautiful job depicting, agriculture. Share that story, share that information and how important that is for us as a nation, as a city, as your local school friends, to know that when they sit down and eat lunch, that it came from somebody that grew that, and we need to support those people.
That's awesome. Would you please join me in thanking our panel? Yeah, we've got one more little plug. In fact, I'm going to encourage everybody to take one action from this, whatever social media platform you're on, or if you're not on social media and want to just check out on the internet, search for a farmer. Just look for the faces of farming and just see what'll pop up. And Corinne's going to tell us about a local face of farming.
I did want to mention real quick, the cover of our Ag Insider magazine is a story that I pitched. The young couple on the cover, Bobby and Duravia Rich, they founded a program. It's an urban garden program called Black Seeds. It's right here in Memphis. They're trying to combat the food desert issues we have in some of our urban areas in Memphis, and they're just a really wonderful, energetic young couple. Bobby is a Memphis City fireman, and he's trying to encourage Memphis City firemen to eat healthy. He takes fresh fruits and vegetables to the fire hall. So I encourage you all to look them up. It's Black Seeds, and it's right here in Memphis, and we are really proud to have them featured on our cover.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret and Joe, Colleen, and Jim for a great presentation. It's a tremendous growth sector. So if you don't come away with anything, knowing that agriculture has a place for you in its growth, and you happen to be right at the epicenter, and you're being here at Agricenter. That was great insight into agriculture and how we are developing our ag leaders of tomorrow. Next comes the high point of 2022 Ag Day celebration, the announcement of the 2022 Ag Day Art Contest winners and the presentation of their awards. This year's Ag Day Art Contest was open to all students in grades 3 through 12 in Shelby County and in DeSoto County, Mississippi. The entries were divided into categories according to their grade levels of the students. Category 1 is for grades 3 through 6, Category 2 for grades 7 through 9, Category 3 was grades 10 through 12. The first place winner in each category will receive a $100 prize. The second place winner in each category will receive a $50 prize. The third place winner in each category will receive a $25 prize. Additionally, the art teacher for each of the first place winners will also receive a prize of $100. Tim Roberts, UT Extension Agent and Director of Education at Agricenter International, and Stephanie Stallings, Marketing Services Specialist for Helena Agra Enterprises, will introduce the 2022 Art Contest winners and present them with their awards. Without further ado, please welcome Stephanie and Tim.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today. We're kind of getting to the part that I know several out there that have been waiting patiently on. Just to give you a little idea about this program started back in 2004. So we've been doing this for several years now, and it has evolved over the years to what you see today. So we're very proud of this program and how far it has come so far, and we're looking definitely what it can be in the future. The theme for this year was agriculture, growing leaders for tomorrow. So kind of what we've been talking about all day. Just to give you a little idea, I grew up in and around a farm all my life. And I thought, no, I am not going to be on the farm the rest of my life for a career. So went off to college. About my junior year, decided, maybe agriculture is not so bad. So here I am, 28 years with the University of Tennessee, and it has been truly a blessed career, in my opinion. So without further ado, we will invite some of our special art guests to stage. Let's see. And these two gentlemen are not them. Okay, we just wanted to clarify that right off the bat. All right. Our Category 1 winners, and by the way, we had a little over 200 entries this year into our art contest, which was very good and was a little bit of a difficult task getting visual art into growing leaders for tomorrow. But these guys did a fantastic job, and I can tell you that the judges, and I won't name judges, but they deliberated over these for a few hours. So it was looking at their artist statements. We usually have them to provide us with a statement. That way they can kind of give us an insight also about what they were thinking, and we judged that as well. So sometimes we came down to, wow, which one, or the judges decided which one would be, so they would read the artist statement, look at the art, and then try to place those. So it was a lot of deliberation that went on in the judging. So our Category 1 will Amelia, Eva, and Juliet please come forward. No, just have them to come right on stage here. Yeah. Okay. Our third place winner this year and we do have one substitute this year. Unfortunately, you know, we never know when we wake up how we're going to feel, and somebody didn't feel well this morning. So we want to thank you, her mother, for standing in for her to receive her awards today. So our third place winner for our art contest in Category 1 is Juliet Lowry. Our second place winner is Miss Eva. And our first place winner, and by the way, these posters back here to my left are the artwork for this group. So just to give you a little idea of this group's artwork, which was very good. And our first place winner is Miss Amelia. All right. Oh, yes. Will Miss Natalie Morgan, is she here? Yes, please come up. Okay, yes. If Mom, Dad, anyone want to come up and take photographs real quick, we can do that. And our first place winner's teacher also receives $100. So we want to thank you, Ms. Morgan, for your support of all of our teachers. So we not only are giving our great artists, but our people that stand behind them every day and try to help them with everything. So thank you so much. And thank all the teachers that do that, because I have two in the family, so anybody knows any of them, please tell them that I complimented them. That always goes good for me. So thank you guys so much.
Good afternoon. I have the pleasure of announcing our second category winners. If I could have Fernanda Garcia, Bailey Beard, and Ainsley Miller to the stage, please. It's right here.
Yes.
Okay. Just two here? Okay. All right, and I want to congratulate our third place winner, Fernanda Garcia from Arlington Middle. And our second place winner is Bailey Beard, also from Arlington Middle. And I believe our winner could not be with us today, but her name is Ainsley Miller from Arlington Middle as well. That's right. All right. And we have her award. Their artwork is on display here in front of me. Thank you, guys. All right. Okay, we'll honor our Category 3 winners. If I could have Sarah Wright, Hannah Yates, and Grace Lawson to the stage, please. All right, and these lovely artists have their artwork on display to your left, my right. So in third place, we have Grace Lawson from Arlington High School. And in second place, Hannah Yates, also from Arlington High. our winner is Sarah Wright, a homeschool student. Congratulations to all our winners. We hope you learned a little bit of ag during your exploratory phase to create your art. And please, if you have any questions, speak to anyone in the room about agriculture. We all work in a wide variety of careers. I promise you, we are not all in the farm, but we are in ag. So thank you.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I was going to say, don't go anywhere because it's on you. Thank you, Tim and Stephanie. I really appreciate the work that you guys are doing. And just once again, I want to reiterate, I mean, there is so much opportunity in agriculture. And what we're doing here at Agricenter with the Innovation District, I mean, there's going to be a tremendous amount of opportunity. So young people, really think about and give consideration to the agriculture business sector because it's exploding, and I guarantee you can find a place in there for you. Once again, thank you, Stephanie and Tim. We're going to give you another round of applause. John, get your butt back up here. This is yours to take us home.
All right, so thank y'all. Y'all been a great audience. It's a wonderful opportunity to get everybody together and celebrate National Ag Day. I want to thank Stephanie and NAMA. Also want to thank Larry, and especially want to thank a lot of the partners in the room that help us do all the things that we do. So as a nonprofit, we're constantly asking other organizations to work with us and partner with us to accomplish our mission. So it's really amazing to have the opportunity to kind of celebrate a lot of the things that we accomplish around the Mid-South. Again, I also want to just take a moment and thank the Agricenter team. So these guys and gals, I'm going to ask you to stand if you're a part of putting all this together. We'll give them a hand. So really incredible amount of effort. And I'll just say that here at the Agricenter, we're very much like a farm. We wear multiple hats, not all like Andy's, but we wear multiple hats every day. So I want to make sure we pay a little respect to the guys and gals that are doing that work. Other thing I want to mention again, I know I've only mentioned it twice, but we would love for you to stay and at the end of the program, which is right now, walk next door right up to the original barn that was built here in the late 40s. See the architecture there. It is a barn, but it's axe-hewn lumber. It's absolutely gorgeous, and we have some amazing homemade ice cream there. Also, we have a lot of the industry partners. They'll have a showcase. You can ask questions. You can mix and mingle, and just have a really good afternoon and enjoying and learning a lot about some of the organizations that are here on the campus. With that, I want to thank everybody. I want to congratulate our young artists again. And I've heard through the rumor mill that we want to continue to help and partner with these young people, and the awards for next year are going to be even that much more amazing. So I've already talked with our education team, and we're going to expand and allow another county, Fayette County, to participate for next year. So our goal is to continue to drive and encourage individuals all around the region to be successful and to experience their own talent. So thank y'all for coming. Thank you for your attendance, and let's give our artists one last hand. Thank y'all.
Growing food doesn't just happen. It takes dedicated men and women that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty or work long hours. They don't do it for fame or fortune, rather because it's what they were born to do. Growing food and fiber in an industry that fuels and feeds the world, learning new ways to do it better, and more effective, to feed more people, and ensure the land is preserved for the next generation. It's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's agriculture. And today we celebrate it, and the men and women who work in the world's most important industry.
Farming has long been a generational business, steeped in hard work, an independent spirit, and dedicated stewardship. It's what makes farming the world's greatest profession. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most hazardous. At Agricenter International, we are on a mission to care for those who care for the land. By offering free, easy-to-complete online or in-person training programs, we'll help you create a culture of safety on your farm. A culture you can instill into employees, your family, and your operation today. And one you can pass along to future generations. Make safety your legacy.
How can we expect a child to understand the world around them if they've never seen that world? At Agricenter International, we give kids a chance to experience the living planet that exists beyond the walls of a traditional learning environment. Here, on the grounds of the region's largest, most diverse outdoor classroom, students from all areas and every background can explore and investigate the wonders of the land and see for themselves how their decisions impact their future and the future of generations to come. Your donation and support of our mission ensures that the next generation's awareness for agriculture, forestry, and all of our natural resources will not be dimmed and will never be lost. Together, we can connect the urban and the rural, today with tomorrow.